You know you're not supposed to be in that bed. You know. So don't do it. Don't get in trouble. No. Quito. Quito, look at me. Look at me, Quito. Ah. Mm-hmm. Cloudy day today. We've got a sprinkle or two. I think as the week progresses, we're going to increase in rain chances and rainfall. But these cloudy days like this are excellent for working in the hoop house because I don't have to get out here super early. And there's a nice breeze in the air today too. But I can get out here at my convenience and get things done. Today, today we have a few things that we need to get accomplished. This specific row here, right here, is the row that we had our kale planted on, and you can still see it's there. A lot of it got stunted because of the attacks from the aphids. The ladybugs did a really good job with reducing that population to the point now where all those items that were being affected, the kale, peppers, as well as eggplant, are now recuperating and looking nice. And so we're really excited about that. Our row here though, what we're going to do is all of the stunted kale is going to be pulled up. And then we're going to just amend this row a little bit. And we have some random things growing on there, which I really love when these random things happen. Like this sunflower here, that cilantro there, and oh, where is it? Ah, there it is. That tomato. Can you see it? Right there. So yeah, we're gonna get all this taken care of. And this row will be the row that we plant our squash on for the year. And this year we'll be planting a full row as opposed to one or two. The end of last season we showed you guys where we had staked our squash, and we'll be doing that method with our zucchini and squash that are planted in here. That will maximize space. They get really big, especially when you take good care of them. And what we did have happen towards the back of the hoop house where we ran a trial at, is they got so big they were all over into the walkways, and you can see between the walkways there's not a whole lot of space. So you have to be mindful of how you're planting things to make sure your walkways are clear. So we decided to go up, and so our cucumbers, of course, are going to go up as well. And so this just fits right in to maximizing the space in our high tunnel to make sure we're getting the best use out of this 936 square feet. And so even in our field areas, which are considerably small compared to a lot of farms in our area, we'll be doing the same thing for our field squash and our field cucumbers and zucchini. It's just the best way that we found so far to maximize the use of space. So that's going to be a new thing for the field areas. Really excited to see how it works, how the pollinators respond. I don't know. It's going to be cool. We'll keep you posted on how that goes. But right now, guys, I got a lot of work to do. Got to get to it. Whew. Okay. Need to take a little breather here. The wind is still blowing, which is great because I just had to come off of one of my layers of clothes. So yeah, pretty sweaty now. But we're more than halfway done, as you can see, weeding this row. And I got inspired as I was going through. I was like, some of these kale plants look pretty healthy. So ones that looked healthy, that looked like they could have the potential to grow, and sometimes if they were planted pretty closely together, when the problem with the aphids started, these were very young. We didn't even get to the thinning stage, so we just left them kind of to use them as a trap crop so the ladybugs could easily find the aphids. So at any rate, the ones that looked good and then the ones that might have been attached to those, I just simply took them and put them in a bucket that we have here. I'll show you. We've done this before when relocating mustard greens, thinning them out rather than throwing them away. We'll just put them in water. There's water in there. Yeah, put them in the water, and as long as they're not in direct sunlight, which this area gets pretty shaded of the hoop house, until you're ready to plant them. And so we have several beds out in the field areas, and then some raised beds too out there that are empty, and I haven't quite planned out what's going in them. So clearly some of this thousands of plants here will, and we'll give them a good feeding at planting, and hopefully if they have gone dormant for whatever reason, that'll wake them up. And stay tuned for that little experiment. It's worked in the past with mustard greens. I haven't tried it with kale before, so we'll see. All right, I gotta get back to work. Thank you, Mr. Rooster. Okay, so that row is complete, and I had to sit down and take a minute and let this breeze cool me off a minute. Oh, feels great though. Okay, so now that we have our row cleared, you might have noticed some greenery still that appears to be weeds, which it is probably grass and things like that. As I'm going back and that rooster, I promise you. Okay, so as I'm going back and planting the seeds, I'll kind of get some of that debris up by hand, but for the most part, you know, I'm not really concerned about it. We don't have the ground cover mulch, so we know we have to weed, and we are going to be implementing some type of mulching practices in here. We experimented blah 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 with some last year, and we eliminated those. We didn't like them, so we're going to try some new things this year, see how it goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my labels here and get them made, and I'll write the name on both front and back of the labels, and along with our squash, we will be planting flowers, and we will be planting some herbs. It's just a part of the method that we use to kind of confuse the bugs and things a little bit, and hopefully they'll be drawn to the flowers more so than they will be the squash. And we're planting quick growing flowers like sunflowers. I decided not to put zinnias in here anymore because the zinnias were about 5 feet last year. It was crazy. They got really out of control, and in an area where the rows are tight and you're just really cramped for space, a 5-foot zinnia is not what you want. So yeah, I'm gonna get that done, and I'll check back with you once we've gotten everything planted out. So what I have Miss Ty doing now is setting out watch the wasp down there, Ty. He's at that post inspecting things. I have her putting out our labels. Some of these labels will be planted seed, and some will be from our starts. And so mixing it up like that, we'll get our harvest not all at once, but kind of staggered a little bit. Are you sure that's what the next emitter was? Look at me, I'm just like a mama. Alright, let's see how much space we got. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead, and you'll notice we have all of the squash on one side of squash and zucchini on one side of the drip tape, and on the other side is going to be where our flowers and basil varieties will go. Somehow I just managed to leave those seeds in the house, so I have to make that trek to go and get those. But yeah, we're gonna finish getting everything labeled out, And I thought about something that I didn't say because I don't want to lead anybody wrong. Our greens that we pulled from this area that had the issue with the aphids, I did an inspection of them as I was putting them in the bucket because I don't want to carry the aphids from one area of the farm to another that may not be having an issue. But before we plant them, we will also do just a soapy bath of the tops and give them a good rinse to make sure we get all of those eggs and things off. Alright, so we're going to get back to work. I have to keep my eye on this wasp that's in here. Hey guys, Sheena here, heading into Hoopty to try to get a little bit of planting done. A project we started, my days are running together, a couple of days ago or yesterday, not sure. We started in a row, we planted squash, and we set out some squash and we planted some from seed. Today we're going to go back on the opposite side of that row and we're going to plant some sunflowers that will be used for our bouquets this spring and summer. And then we're also going to plant some marigolds as well as some calendula. So let's go. Okay, so you can see our trench on the right side of the drip tape. What we have there, I think I said calendula earlier, but the seed packet I had lemon basil, and then our pro cut sunflowers that we'll be using for our bouquets. We only did about 20 of each color just because we like to succession plant those. We don't want them all coming ready at once and then not having something later when we need it. So in about a week we'll do 20 more, but those will probably be done outside down near the house where it's nice and can kind of add to the beauty of our home, give it some curb appeal. So yeah, let me get in here and let you see how far apart they are. You see the black seed there. They suggest putting about 2 or 3 in a spot and then coming back and thinning later. But when we did that last year, I felt like we wasted so many seeds because the germination was really good on these. So we're just gonna go with it like this. We put them where we want them ultimately to be instead of thinning to that spacing. So we're gonna save a little bit of time and we'll definitely save some seed. And in the case that 1 or 2 doesn't come up when we do our succession planting, we'll just plop them right back in that spot. So it's a win-win for us with the way we grow things here. So although this entire row is completely planted, it is not at all covered. So I'm gonna go back down that row, get everything covered. The drip irrigation will be on in just a few minutes, so I want to get it done before that starts. And then I'm gonna go into the house and irrigate myself with some nice cold refreshing water, take a little bit of a break. And since it's gotten so warm in here right now, even though it's pretty pleasant with the wind coming through, I'd prefer being in the field areas, and that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take a break and then go out and work on our asparagus bed. All right, this is Sheena with your check-in for March. See you in April.